Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Kinder Chat. I'm Christina from Sweet for Kindergarten, and this week we're doing things a little differently. The videos used to be on IGTV, but now they will be on YouTube. So it's easier to share, like, and subscribe so that way you are able to get the videos as soon as they come out. So this week I am talking all about building your classroom community, which in typical years, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it, different icebreaker games and teamwork activities. But this year, about half of America are starting virtually. And so that presents a different kind of challenges. Your students aren't meeting each other. They are not playing on the playground together or working in centers together. They are behind a computer screen working independently. But it doesn't mean that there doesn't have to be any classroom community whatsoever. I think it's still really important to build that classroom community, even online. So if you think about it, if you're on Instagram or Facebook, you have a bunch of friends that you probably talk to, maybe friends from high school, college, or now, and the majority of the time that you talk to them is online. You're still able to build those relationships online even though you're not seeing them in person. I know for me with my teacher Instagram, I have friends on there that I have literally never met before, but I chat with them every day. We have different things in common. We bond over different things. So it's the same thing when you are doing this with your students. So I have a couple quick things that can help you build that classroom community in your classroom if you're doing it online. So the first one is to include a morning meeting. So many of us, myself included, love morning meeting. It is a time that we come together, we sit down, and we do a little morning meeting. In my classroom, I always had my students greet each other. We would practice shaking each other's hands and looking the other student in the eye, going around and saying, "Good morning, Roger," or "Good morning, Sarah." And after that, I would have a question of the day. And so the question of the day could be anything. Usually after the weekend, it was, "What did you do this weekend?" Or maybe after a break, "What did you do over break?" Or "What are you looking forward to coming back to school?" And then the other questions could be anything like, "What's your favorite ice cream flavor?" Or "What's your favorite TV show?" Anything that students can see that, oh, his favorite TV show is Paw Patrol, that's my favorite TV show. And anytime that they're able to develop those connections, you just see that the students' relationships with each other grow. So even though you're online, you can still do a morning meeting where your students greet each other and then you ask a fun question and kind of get to know all of your students a little better. Another game that I would like to play is called the This or That game. This is something that I played a lot at the beginning of the school year, and as the year goes on, I'd throw it in here and there. But pretty much you sit in a circle and then all you do is you say two things. So maybe chocolate or vanilla, this or that. And your students go around and quickly say which one they like better. Or maybe if you say pet or no pet, they have to say if they have a pet or if they don't have a pet. The purpose of this is a quick activity that you can learn about your students and that your students can learn about each other. So maybe most of your class loves chocolate. So that's something that you guys all have in common. Another thing that I would do during morning meetings is a show and tell. And I know that it's really hard to bring in items to school, especially nowadays. But the good thing about being virtual is you can have students show and tell whatever they want to. I know I had students asking me, literally begging me, "Can I please bring my puppy in for show and tell?" But in the classroom, it was a little harder. But now your students are able to do show and tell. And so how this would work is you would just pick one student a day that they would get to do show and tell. You can let their parents know ahead of time. You can tell them the day before, "Hey, Johnny, tomorrow it's your show and tell day. So you get to bring in something and share it with the class." And in the classroom, I would have my students bring it in. It would have to fit inside of their backpack, and it would only come out for show and tell. So same rules apply here. I would say that it has to fit in the TV screen. Maybe have a pet show and tell one day, but something that only comes out for show and tell time. After show and tell time, they are to go put it where it belongs and put it away so that it doesn't distract them. But you can have your students explain what it is. Maybe they really want to show everybody their really cool Barbie, and they bring their Barbie, they talk about it. You can have a couple kids ask questions during the show and tell time, and then they put it away. It's just something that gives you a little glimpse into your students' lives, and again, it builds that connecting factor between your students. Another way that I built classroom community in the classroom, which could be easily done virtually, is to do a student of the week. And so this, I had a preset student of the week that I would send out to my parents. It was just a quick form. Here, your student is a student of the week. Here's what they're going to bring in. Sometimes they would bring in a fun snack that they enjoy. Sometimes they would bring in some pictures of their family, and they could share about their family. Or maybe there was always one time that I would do like a question and answer kind of thing. So I would let my students ask that student whatever questions they wanted to, and they would get to answer it. I called it the hot seat. So you can still do this virtually. What you can do is one day they get to share a bunch of pictures about themselves. So either draw pictures or use actual photos of their family, their dogs, things that they like to do. You could have them create an entire poster, or you can just have them hold up the pictures on Zoom or whatever platform you're using. And then just think of a couple different fun activities or things that would help your students get to know that student of the week. So maybe you do the hot seat, or maybe if your student is from a different country, maybe they can share more about their country and their traditions. So just a couple different ideas on how to still do that student of the week. Now, daily, there are different ways that you can build that classroom community and establish those strong relationships with your students. So here are just a quick few tips that I would personally do to ensure that I was getting to know my students better. I know during recess, I would always try to pull a student aside and make sure I kind of chatted with them to learn more about them. I would ask them about their family. I would ask them about maybe what they like to do after school, or maybe their favorite place to visit. I would just kind of keep asking them different questions and see what they like to talk about. And that was kind of how I learned about each student on a deeper level. Virtually, it's a little harder to do that. So what I would do is just keep like a notepad or even like a Google Doc on your computer and just type different things that you see. Maybe you see that Susie brought a cat, and you're like, okay, we need to put the cats away right now. But maybe later you could ask her what her cat's name was. Or maybe you notice that your student is eating sushi. And so maybe you can make it a point later and say, oh, that's so neat that you like sushi. I like sushi too. What kind of sushi roll were you eating? And just a couple different ideas to bring in that relationship building aspect. So another thing that you can do daily is just highlight your students' achievements. So anytime that maybe they got a really hard answer right, you could really congratulate them. Anytime that you notice that maybe you have a couple students who are really trying hard, they're listening, they're raising their hands to be called on, definitely highlight those students and continue to encourage them to do that. And then last of all, smile, be yourself, laugh, have a dance party, just kind of throw some extra fun into it. I know at the end of the year, many of you used the ABC countdown to summer, and every day it was a different letter. So maybe you could do something similar. Kind of think about Fridays, maybe make it like a fun Friday. And maybe this Friday, what we're gonna do is we're going to all come in our pajamas to school and read a picture book, and then we get to watch part of a song that goes with the book. Just different things that kind of encourage them to want to come to their Zoom class. So I hope this was helpful, all about building classroom community. I will see you all same time next week. Bye.